Writing a melody. How to write a melody. Well, you might say to yourself, I'm not sure how to write a good melody, but I know one when I hear it. That is a clue that you've already got the stuff in here to write a good melody because you can analyze it on a base level and say, oh, that's a good melody, or I don't care for that song. The melody's, I'll never be able to sing that. It's too weird, too difficult, or it's just not memorable. After I heard the song, I forgot it completely. I like a song when I hear the melody, it attracts me immediately. I like that to be my first contact with a song, is the melody. And I'll listen to a song sometimes a dozen times before I even start to clue in on the lyric, just because I'm captured by the melody. Now I'm talking about growing up. This is the way I always listened. And the Beatles, oh my God, their melodies were so fabulous. You didn't care if it was very simplistic. I didn't care if it was very simplistic lyrics at that point because the melodies were just so fabulous and so singable and so happy and joyous. And that really attracted me. And I wanted to learn how to do that. I was in high school. The Beatles came out when I was around sixth, seventh grade, something like that. And then in high school, I did all the choir and music courses I could do, and I took some music theory, but I never learned how to write songs, which is what I really wanted to do. I taught myself to play guitar, and I could sing along with the guitar, so I started to write melodies for simple, basic songs I was starting to write then. And my guitar playing was really poor, so I was writing songs that I could do while playing guitar. So my guitar abilities were holding me back, and I didn't know it. I didn't understand that. Nobody knew how to teach me how to write a song. I mean, I taught myself to play guitar because nobody taught me how to do that. So I had to teach myself how to write songs. So it took a long, long, long time to get where I am. I think now, today, that I'm 68 years old, I'm finally getting a handle on it, and I'm starting to write the best songs of my life. And, well, what the hell, if it takes that long, so what, But hopefully, I can help you avoid some of the things that I've done that were really not really beneficial. I'll tell you about the good stuff. That's what I'll do. So I started to write songs playing guitar, and I went to school for music because I was so crazy about music. And I was a music major in education, but they had no composition courses on songwriting. They had some composition courses that were for writing more classical songs, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I hung around with a bunch of my hippie friends, and we'd sit around and we'd sing, Paul Simon songs or James Taylor songs. He was just brand new at that point, and we were playing, like the Eagles had just came out, and we were trying some of that stuff and just singing, whatever was popular of the day. And I was still trying to write my own songs, but my guitar playing was still so basic. I didn't understand how to make my songwriting better because I couldn't play guitar very well. But eventually I got a couple of lucky accidents and wrote a couple of pretty good songs. And got to the point where I had enough songs where I wanted to record an album. Did an album. It was, all right, not great. But the melodies were pretty good. The lyrics were pretty poor. But I kept working at it. Now I'm in my 20s, my late 20s by now, and almost 30 years old. I go out to the woods and tell myself, I'm going to write a song today. I'm going to sit here and make myself do it. I'm not going to wait for inspiration. I'm going to make it happen. And that was something that was really important to me, is to know that I had the confidence I could write on demand, not from inspiration only. Because you sit around waiting for inspiration, you're going to sit around a lot. It's the Edison thing: 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. You know, if you start writing something, then you got something to work on. No matter how bad it is, you've got something you can start molding, shaping, forming. So doing it is really, really important. So to make yourself actually do it, sit down and do it, no matter how bad it is, you can make it better from there. So I wrote this song, Pony Ride, and it was from a newspaper article I had read. And the song came out pretty good. And I sent it to the Kerrville Songwriters School, the New Folk competition. And I got invited to be in the competition. And I was thrilled about that. Now I'm in, I don't know, about maybe my mid-30s by this point. And so I go to the songwriter competition, and I didn't do very well in it. Other people did much better than I. And then I decided to go to this songwriters school that I signed up and paid money for. But there I met Pat Alger and Fred Kohler and Bob Gibson. They're Nashville songwriters. Bob Gibson was a folky songwriter and written some really fabulous, well-known songs like Abilene, Abilene, prettiest town I've ever seen. And they really clued me into a lot of the aspects of songwriting, really made me think about lyric content more. So after that, I needed money. I went to work as a teacher, teaching music. I had a music education degree, and I didn't really enjoy it very much. It wasn't me. I didn't, you know, I don't know. I didn't feel really comfortable in the role. It wasn't fulfilling my soul. It wasn't doing what I thought I wanted to do with my life. Even though I was standing in front of a group of kids, we're all having a good time, we're singing songs. Other teachers would complain, your kids come back too hyped up after music class. You know, they're having too good of a time. But I was in the basement of a school, and the bathroom was right next door. There's this tiled bathroom in the basement, a great big bathroom. I'd go in there and I'd clap, and it would echo like crazy. So I started writing this song by walking into that bathroom, and I just started a beat. And I just started emotionally going, oh, da, 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 da. Just feeling that groove of that echo and that reverb in there. And I'm thinking about these inner city kids that I'm teaching, and what a hard time it is for them to kind of climb the ladder of success. And I wrote this song, Climb Up a Ladder, from that experience. And I was in the New Jersey Songwriters Circle at that time with Dave Kleiner and Liz and a few other people that had started it. And so that song, it was cool because now I had a song I could perform without the guitar, because it didn't have anything to do with the guitar. It was just singing. And it goes, I'll just do a little bit of it. It goes, oh, won't you help me climb up a ladder? Somebody tell me that this can be done. Oh, won't you help me climb up a ladder? Reach for the very next rung. So that's Climb Up a Ladder. So that was all emotional. And I really dug into that kind of spiritual, emotional kind of a feeling that I was in this place that I didn't want to be in. I wanted out of there. I could see these kids kind of trying to figure out how life works and get out of their situation. And that's when it hit me that writing good songs has nothing to do with playing guitar. How long did it take me to figure that out? Oh my God, I didn't have to be a great guitar player. I didn't have to be a great piano player. It had nothing to do with those things. It had to do with tapping into that emotional part of my being and really bringing out that emotion in a lyric. And it was kind of bluesy and kind of soulful and kind of like, how do I make this work? My life is not where I want it to be. And I took all those emotions and I put them into that lyric about what's it like to be trapped on a ladder where you can't go up because you're afraid, and you don't want to go down because it scares the hell out of you to look down off of a ladder, and you're just frozen in one place. And that's what that song was about. And that was the first, I think, really, really successful song that I wrote, because I had tapped into that emotional level. And I let my brain do the work, but my emotions were really the push for it all. And that's something that I think we all have. We have emotional depths like that because we know a good song when we hear it. Then all you have to do is tap into those things and bring them out in music. Not just lyric, but the music, the melody. Okay, so an example. Words have rhythmic structure to them inherently. Things like elephant. The word elephant doesn't go elephant. It doesn't go elephant. It doesn't go elephant. It goes elephant, 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 elephant. It's a triplet. Elephant, 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 elephant. So if I'm going to write a song with the word elephant, elephant's going to be a triplet. It's going to go elephant, elephant, elephant. I love to ride an elephant. Oh, elephant, elephant, elephant. Oh, let me ride on you. A kid's song, so let's say. So I'm just making that up, but I'm using elephant, elephant, elephant. It's kind of the way I say it. Elephant, elephant, elephant. So I use the natural structure of the rhythm of the word, and I use the way you say it. Not elephant. It doesn't go that way. It goes elephant. It goes from the top and drops down when you say it. Elephant, elephant, elephant. Oh, let me ride on an elephant. So that's really important for me, that words work with the melody. You don't try to fight the two against each other. Use that rhythmic structure that words have. So there's only 12 notes, right? In a scale, there's 12 notes. There's the 7 notes that are the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do is the 8th one. And there's all the sharps and flats in between, the in-between notes. But there's only 14 of them. So you think you'd get tired of those 14 notes, But the variety of different ways you can use those 14 notes is just amazing. There's zillions of ways to put those together. You could put them together in scale-wise passages. Do, re, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, fa, so, mi, fa, so. And suddenly you're making a melody. Or you can use the chord and sing each note of the chord. Do, mi, so, re, fa, la, da, 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 da. Use those things with the structure of note to note, and then leap. It's kind of like the steps and the leaps. The steps are going through the scale do, re, mi, fa, so, and the leaps are da, ba, 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 ba. So using a combination of those two things is where melody lies. Now, rhythm. Rhythm is really what makes melodies work. So let's take a really, really simple melody. Do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. It's a scale going down. But if you add rhythmic structure to that same melody, it goes da, 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 da. And suddenly it's joy to the world. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. One of the best melodies ever written. It's a scale. Geez, it's not that difficult. It's the rhythmic structure. It's the da 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 da. Giving it that rhythmic structure makes it work. And here's another one. Bill Withers has written some of the most amazing songs. If you don't know Bill Withers, you don't know what you're missing out on. Bill Withers wrote Lean on Me, which is probably his biggest hit. Right now there's one on TV in some commercial where some woman's rolling along wrapped up in towels and rags and blankets and stuff. I don't understand the concept of the commercial, but they're using a Bill Withers song as a backtrack for it. But anyway, Lean on Me, it goes like this. Let's see if I can pull this off. I'm going to go over to the piano here for just a second. And it goes like this. Can you see that? Okay, so it goes. Turn it up a little bit. It's the chord, right? Do, mi, so. And then you go up and you just take those same three fingers and you just move them up one step. And he goes, sometimes in my life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Trying to play blind over there. But it's just do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi. You know, it's really, really simple. And one of the best melodies ever written. I mean, that's a killer. It's all about the rhythm that he used. And using words that work with the rhythm. Sometimes in my life, not extra words in there. I'll show you what extra words, how they can ruin a melody, all right? So think of White Christmas. Now, I'm going to pull up my own document here. Hang on a second while I get this up because I just thought of it. You know the Irving Berlin song, White Christmas, right? Irving Berlin was probably one of the best melody writers. I'm not just talking about songwriting, but I'm talking about melody writing. He was the champ. Okay, so what happens if you use too many words? It'll kill a melody. Okay, here's what would happen to White Christmas if you used too many words. It would go, and that's why I'm dreaming of a white Christmas full of snow, just like the ones I used to know back in New York City, where the treetops glisten with ice and the children listen so nice to hear the dear sleigh bells in the snow, even though I've never seen a sleigh in the Bowery. Oh, the heat must be getting to me because I'm dreaming of a white Christmas back home in the East, with every Christmas card I write, even though I'm Jewish. May your days be merry and cheery and dearie and bright all through the night, and may all your Christmases be white, even if global warming prevents it. Amen. Now, I've just destroyed the melody by throwing all that extra stuff in there. Well, that's what happens to a lot of really good songs. They get destroyed by too many words. And I hear it all the time. People have a great melody, and they put all these ands and ifs and buts, and that's because, and why I'm saying, and all those other little things you don't need in there. They're destroying your melody. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. You should do as much editing on your melody as you do on your lyrics. It's just as important. If you've got words that aren't in the melody, get rid of them, see what happens. It's called scan. If your words don't match up with your melody notes, you probably don't need those words. And if you do, well, put them on the scan notes and rewrite it so the notes of the melody are the ones that stay, because that's what people will remember. They're never going to remember that version of White Christmas. It's too crazy. It's too many words. It's too complicated. Just, I'm, nice long note, dreaming of a white Christmas. That's memorable because it's so simple. And it's a beautiful, beautiful melody. I mean, do you know anybody who doesn't like White Christmas? That's a fabulous song. You know, when I think back of who my favorite melody writers are, Irving Berlin is way, way up there. Wrote so many great, great songs. I mean, Blue Skies and you know, Putting on the Ritz and Alexander's Ragtime Band. I mean, just fabulous, fabulous songs. He was probably the first commercial songwriter who made a business and made a successful life out of just songwriting. Now, before him, Stephen Foster wrote, you know, and Stephen Foster was super popular in his day. And I can't believe that so many of his songs still stick around, you know, like My Old Kentucky Home, Swanee River. I mean, there's just dozens of his songs that are still memorable. People still sing. And he died when he was 37, broke, on the Bowery, New York City. He probably committed suicide. There's a little, not quite sure, but 37. By that time, he'd written all those fabulous songs. You know, so where am I going with this? Okay, so you can take a melody that's a pretty well-known old folky melody and turn it into a pop song. That works really good. Bob Dylan did that with lots of songs. Rewrote melodies a little bit to fit his songs. Like Blowin' in the Wind is actually an older melody that he kind of adapted to that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's a folky process. Like, let me do one for you real quick. Okay, here's the original song. Oh, solo mio, da 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 da, in your eyes only is my delight. Well, you give it a little bit of beat and it goes, it's now or never, come hold me tight, kiss me, my darling, and be mine tonight. So just changing the rhythmic structure and not changing the melody at all, and it's just the background rhythmic structure turns that old Italian folk song into this pop hit for Elvis. Fabulous. Brilliant. I think that is an unbelievably smart thing to do. So cueing into those kind of things, like if you hear part of a melody that you really like and you want to write a song that's some kind of a song, well, you got to get yourself in the mood of whatever that is. Let's say I wanted to write some kind of like a blues song. Well, I'd want to get into that mood of the great blues songs that I like, or listen to some blues songs, try to put my head into that frame of reference, or Motown songs like Holland Dozier Holland. Oh my God, the songs they wrote, just perfect songs, one after another, you know, and everybody recorded the Four Tops, you know, Diana Ross, everybody did Holland Dozier Holland songs. They were, you know, they'd line up just waiting for those guys to write songs for them because they knew that they would make them famous. And so I would put myself in that mood, like listen to a bunch of Motown stuff and try to write in that Motown kind of groove or feel, like so I'm thinking of, did you watch the Fabulous Mrs. Maisel? And the guy who was the singer in that show, the black guy who was so fabulous, a wonderful performer, I forget his name from the show, but he was just charismatic and just just a great performer. Kind of reminded you of the classic acts from that time. So I was loving that kind of feel and groove. So I wrote a couple songs in that feeling, just because the feeling was so good. Kind of like tapped into what it felt like to be in that era and write like that. So I really write most of the songs I write now. I write without a guitar, without the piano. I write the melody, and it comes with the words. So, you know, the old question is, what do you write first, the words and the melody, the words and music? And so the answer to that is, do you write the words first? Do you write the melody first? Do you write them together? Well, the answer is yes, yes, yes. You do all of them. Do them all. There's no wrong way to do it. If one inspires the other, fine, you know. Or for me, I like to do them together because I think the emotional content comes out in words too. So if I was going to write a song about, well, I'm just going to randomly pick a topic, like my red tea cup. So I'm thinking that's kind of a silly kind of a thing, teacup. So I'm thinking of it would sound a little bit like a tea for two kind of a song, you know, a teacup. It goes a teacup, a lot of bell, the tea. I try to get some kind of a feeling for the time period and a place. A teacup, I got a little teacup sitting on my desk. I like to drink da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, it's not much of anything, but it's something to start with. Now I can write about, don't slip nothing in my teacup, you know. Or so now I start to think about what does the teacup symbolize, and then I get into the rest of it. But it's the emotional thing. Now the emotion there is silliness and fun. So I put that into a teacup, a teacup, a teacup. You know, it's kind of an old-fashioned kind of a melody feeling. But I'm tapping into thinking of the songs that I, you know, from like the 40s and the 50s, where they did those kind of, you know, razzmatazz kind of fun things. And what you would do in writing a song for like Frank Sinatra, you would do a swing song for him. If you were going to write a Frank Sinatra song, and he would take songs that weren't written for him and sing them and absolutely destroy them by making them swing when they shouldn't. Like, you want to get a good laugh, you listen to Frank Sinatra singing Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Oh my God, it's so awful, it's hysterical. But this is where syncopation comes in. Syncopation is taking words, taking music, and giving them a little bounce, a little skip, a little step. So I'm gonna sing for you one of the first songs that I wrote that was really god awful, that I wrote when I was in freshman in college, and it went like this. It goes, I wrote it with guitars, so it was very basic. It goes, Esther, wake me up, bring me alive. I need you here right beside me. Just one touch from your little hand could fill my life so completely. Oh, that is so bad. That is so bad. It's embarrassing. But today, I would take that same thing and I would work on it from there. I would edit it. So I would give it some syncopation. I'd give it some bounce. Da 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 da. The words, there's no saving them. They've got to go. They're awful. But that's already a better melody just by syncopating it. da 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 instead of da 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 da. I'm got da 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 da. Syncopation, giving it a little bounce, a little skip, and you don't have to do it all the time. You can go da 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 da. Da 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 da. So I've taken a pretty bad melody and made it a lot more interesting just by using syncopation. So that's a really important tool. It will really help with getting your songs from that vanilla stage on to the next step up where it's got more interest because of the rhythmic element. And you should try to find words that work with that bounce then. So the rhythmic element, really, really, really super important. Well, if you don't feel like you have a good rhythmic element to what you're doing, well, you should do what Stevie Nicks did. Now, this is a true story. Fleetwood Mac in the studio recording, and they're doing one of these things where they play a guitar part over and over and over for hours and hours on end, and it's incredibly boring to sit around and listen to. So she goes into another room at the recording studio that Sly Stone had built for himself. It's like a bedroom and it's like a bordello, and she goes over there with a little keyboard, like a Casio type keyboard, and it's got a little rhythmic thing in it, a little rhythm machine built into it, and she gets a little rhythm going on the Casio keyboard, right? And it's going, and she gets this fun little rhythm playing, and then she starts playing 3 chords. Now, Stevie Nicks is not a good guitar player. She does play guitar and she does play piano, but she's really elementally, really basic at it. So she starts playing like this. She's going. Just really, really simple stuff. And then she starts singing to that with that rhythm going, and she goes, well, here I go again. I see your crystal visions. I keep my visions to myself. Still playing the same 3 chords. I keep my visions to myself. It's on. Now she does something incredibly brilliant. She jumps. It's only right that you should add syncopation. Play the way you feel it. Singing on the offbeat. Listen carefully to the sound of loneliness. And then she recorded it on a little cassette machine. One of those little portable cassette machines we all had back in the 90s, and brings it into the studio and plays it for Lindsay. And Lindsay hears it and goes, oh my God, that's fabulous. That's great. He takes those 3 chords and manages to find 3 completely different sections for the song. Thunder only happens when it's raining. Same 3 chords. And it manages to make one of the all-time top hits that they had. It may have been one of their only #1 hits that they ever had. And it is just a testament to how beautiful melody can be without really having a really complicated structure underneath it. It's the melody that drives that song. It's not the chord structure under it. It's that real incessant beat that goes on. And as a matter of fact, they tried to recreate that with a drum pattern where they played all the way through the song, played it, and it didn't work very well. So they took one section of him playing the drums, and they just looped it over and over and over and over again. And they used a drum beat that's a loop that he played on the spot, and just looped it. So it was this hypnotic drum beat under the whole thing, the exact same accents and drive to it. And that's what made that song really, really take off, is by those other people adding all that other stuff to it. But what did she do? She just played 2 or 3 chords, just... That's all she had, and she just sang a melody over it. So she knows she's not a good guitar player. She knows she's not a good piano player, but she's a fabulous songwriter. I mean, you hear one of Stevie's songs, and you remember the melody. I mean, it sticks. She's just really top-notch melody writer. And she doesn't have a big vocal range either. She writes within her own limited vocal range. But she does those unexpected leaps where she's got da 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 da. Wow. It's just, it really works so good when she does that stuff, you know? So that's what I aspire to. Let my, this part, the voice, write the melody, not, you know, my hands playing the guitar or playing piano. I want to talk about what a voice and guitar and piano have, and their benefits. So the voice is you can only sing one note at a time, right? You can only make one note happen at a time singing, unless you're doing that Tibetan throat singing thing, but that's not me. So with guitar, you can only, when you're an elemental player like I was back then, only strum. So you're not writing much melody with the guitar. You're just adding rhythm and chords to it. Piano, if you're a pretty basic piano player, you're just adding chord structure to it and maybe a little melody note here and there in between your chord changes. So, you know, they really hold back the instrument that needs to sing the melody. That's what you got to work on. Your vocal part, your singing part is more important than your guitar part or your piano part, because it's a one-note instrument and you're going to end up using a one-note melody for each word or each kind of each syllable in a song. So I think that's really important, is to make it singable. And how do you make it singable? You sing it right from the beginning. I don't start with that guitar in my hand anymore. I don't start on the keyboard. I start singing something, and then that inspires me, and I think about, oh, how does that groove go? And now maybe I'll pick up a guitar from here and put some chord structure to it. You can harmonize anything. The 3 chords, right? The 1 chord in the key of C, it's C. The 4 chord is F, and the 5 chord is G, and the G7, it's the 7th note in the chord. Okay, with just the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, every note of a melody of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, they're all in those 3 chords. So you can harmonize any melody with 3 chords, with 1, 4, and 5. So don't worry about figuring out the chord structure. That can happen later on, way down the road. It doesn't matter. Write a good melody, you'll figure out a chord structure for it later. And if you get a kind of like I don't know where to go from it, use a drum track to give you a different kind of a feel that you're not used to doing. You know, like you can find drum tracks on YouTube. I mean, there's tons of them with different kind of grooves, like a bossa nova groove, a blues groove, R&B groove, all different kind of grooves that you can get into. Put yourself in that spiritual place where you're feeling it now, and you've got a groove going, and you can start singing to the groove. I think that really helps me. I like to sing when I'm walking, because it just It's that right brain, left brain thing where I've got my body doing something, and now I don't have to worry about that. Now I can put the other side of my brain to work because I've parked that active side that wants to do by walking. And now I can just let the other side of my brain freewheel and go off and, think about, just spontaneous stuff, whatever comes up. And that's when I fall into those happy accidents in writing melodies. So walking is really good. But it's that we're a biped person, left, right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a natural rhythm walking, 1, 2, and it's a constant steady rhythm. You can walk, you can't really walk in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, but you can walk in 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's different ways to do those things, but walking is like, it's part of that primal thing, where you get that rhythm going, your body rhythm. I like that stuff. Okay, so there's also this thing that you do in writing a melody. It's call and response, or question and answer. And it's like poetry, like iambic pentameter. It goes da 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 da, and you answer it da 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 da. That's not iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter is the Shakespearean stuff. But call and response is da 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 da, and the answer to that is da 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 da. So you write those phrases into your melody. A da 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 da, boom ba ba ba, a da 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 da, a boom ba ba do ba, a da 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 da, boom ba ba do ba, a da da da. Call and response, question answer. I really love songs like that are like so natural. You just know where the melody's going, because it's almost like a blueprint. You can almost feel where it's going to happen. And this is where repetition really becomes really, really strong. If you get a good line, a good melodic line, repeat that exact same melodic line. That's okay. Okay, so if your melodic line was like running through a chord, jumping, down, 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 da 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 da. It's running through a chord again with the same structure, da 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 da. But they just started on a different note, da 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 da. So it's a repetition of the idea of jump, 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 jump in the same rhythmic pattern, but they just went down a note to start the next part. First part goes down, 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 down. Now you jump down a little bit, da, 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 down, down, down. And it's just a chord. Fabulous melody, right? I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night. It's just singing the chord. The Sound of Music, Do a Deer. It's do a deer. She's teaching kids how to do melody, right? It's a real lesson. This works, what she's doing, what she's talking about. She's talking about do, and you can hold the note, do, while the other part goes, a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun, mi, a name I call myself, fa, just singing the scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It works beautifully. That was a moment of like exceptional insight that those writers put into that. And this is a quote that I've heard several forms of it, and one of it is, anybody can complicate things. It takes a genius to keep it simple. That is truth there. If you keep it really, really, really simple, it will be much more memorable than some complicated melody that goes on and on and on for a long time. If your melody goes it's like, what was all that? Too much. But if I did da 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 da, that's memorable because it's simple. It's not all that da 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 da. So keeping it simple is the genius. That's the beauty of a good melody is the simplicity, and that's what makes melodies hummable, singable, memorable. If I can hear, we came out of a musicals for me, I don't know, they just don't work the way they used to. I'm probably just old fartish stuff, but we went to see Wicked and came out of there with only one song, and we could kind of remember how it went. But they were just more opera than they were songs, and it was just more of these long extended melodic lines, and it just was really, geez, it was hard to remember. I don't want to have to work at remembering a melody. I'm the audience. Don't make me work. I want to just sit back and have a good time and like it, have fun. So a motif, let me try to explain what that is. Musical term, and it means a very, very short phrase that you use as your building block for everything else. So a motif can be 3-4 notes, and then you repeat those 3 or 4 notes, maybe not in the same place, maybe up a few steps, or you just use the rhythmic structure of that motif over and over in different places. And I'll give you an example. Beethoven, da 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 da. That's a pretty simple melody, da 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 da. And that wouldn't be memorable except that he went repeating that same motif, that da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Da 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 dum da. Fabulous, fabulous melody writing from using a motif and just doing it at different places. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And that's using a motif to write a melody. Now maybe that wouldn't work as a pop song, but dun 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 ba 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 bum 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 works as how gentle is the rain that falls softly da 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 da. That Motown tune, it's the same. Basically the same melody, using that a classical song like that and taking a motif, the idea of motif and repeating it works really well in songwriting, in melody writing. And I like to think about rhythmic structures in verses and choruses being different things. If I've got a verse with a rhythmic structure that goes da 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 da, when I get to the chorus, I want to hear long notes, not all those quick notes. I want to hear da 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 da, or even the other way around. If your verses are going da 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 da, you get to the bridge, you can go da 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 da. And give it really sectionalized differences by doing that. By okay, this is a busy section. Let's do a slow not so many note section. And contrast those against each other, and that will make your verses sound totally different than your choruses. And there's a couple different kinds of songs: verse songs and chorus songs. Chorus songs are usually the chorus comes over and over in the song after a verse. You know, it's kind of like there's a verse, chorus, verse, chorus kind of structure. Or there's songs that are verse and then the last couple lines repeat at the end of each verse, the same couple lines. So those are verse songs, and maybe you'll have a bridge in that song. Well, if you're going to write the kind of song that has a chorus, I usually start from writing the chorus first, because that's the part that people remember in a song that's a verse chorus song. The verses, you know, maybe the first verse they'll remember, some of the second verse, never the third verse. People don't remember that, you know, but they remember the chorus. And the chorus is the part that probably I start to write first if I'm writing a chorus type song. If I come up with something that I think is a good chorus. I wrote this Irish song that I thought had just walking along in the woods. And I was thinking about my grandfather, who was an alcoholic, who died in a flop house in Newark, New Jersey. And I thought, that's going to be one hell of a depressing song. So I decided to write it as an upbeat, happy song instead. And so I was thinking this as I was walking along and going, oh, dump me in a flop house, stick a penny in my eye, just stab me with a clothespin and hang me out to dry up. So I just got in that Irishy mood from my Irish grandfather. And kind of like that drove the song. And that chorus, man, when I sing that out in a bar, I have an Irish band, my wife and I, everybody responds to that. You know, they don't think about the verses at all, but they love to hear that chorus, you know. So it's like, it's the old saw, you know, don't bore us, get to the chorus. Your verses don't have to be that important if you got a really good chorus, you know. Well, I could go on and on and on with this stuff. Swing is a really important kind of a feeling to get. It's all those Frank Sinatra songs, you know, they got swing in them. Or, you know, so kind of getting an ear for different styles. What does swing sound like? What does blues sound like? What does bossa nova sound like? They will open up your repertoire of how you write if you can understand how those styles work, what they feel like. Listen to some Carlos Jobim songs and you'll get a feeling for bossa nova, even though it's kind of outdated, but it's still really fun, really beautiful. You know, Sting wrote all of those great Police songs as reggae songs, basically, but made them a little bit more rockin'. Took reggae and put a little bit more rock in it and got Roxanne, bop, 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 bop. You don't have to put on a red light. But it's really, you know, based on reggae, all that stuff. And boy, you can sing any of his songs without a guitar in your hand, without a piano. You can just sing it because they got great melodies. I'm sure Sting writes his melodies, you know, just intuitively like that without playing, you know, working on it from you know, sitting down as a composer and playing notes over and over at the piano and filling them in. You know, that's not the way really memorable melodies go. They don't take that much work. They're easy, they're fun, they're quick. They have repeating little sections. All right, so let's open it up to some question and answer. What do you think? You got some questions for me?
That sounds good, Dennis. If you'd like to put your questions in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and go right ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and talk to me.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Hey, how are you, Phil?
I'm good. How are you, Dennis? I noticed, I can't remember who did it in the songwriting group yesterday, but someone's song was a really good example of, an example is come thou fount of every blessing, tune thy heart to sing thy grace. The first, second, and fourth of a verse were the same, but the third is very different melodically. Um, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that when you have a verse part, but you do 1, 2, 4 are the same, but then you change it on the third one.
You're talking about the lines in the verse?
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. It's always good to repeat something that you do that works right away
Mm-hmm.
and then go away from it, gives the listener kind of a break from it, and then come back to it again. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
good way to write a melody, is to write two lines that are the same melodic line, get away from it for one line, and then come
Mm-hmm.
back to it and reinforce it again at that last line. I think that works really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's a good structure. You don't have to write four different lines. You write two lines that way.
Yeah.
Like there's lots and lots of blues songs that do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They'll-
Is there a name for that thing?
There's probably some,
Okay.
for it, but I don't know it.
Thank you for explaining. That makes sense what you said of why that works. Thank you.
Oh yeah, blues songs do that all the time, and they're great for that. Like I think that's why people love the blues, is because you don't have to kind of figure out what the songwriter is trying to do with the melody. It's already a blueprint that you kind of slide your words into, and often it'll be uh, the same words over and over. Oh, baby, don't you go. Oh, baby, don't you go. Oh, baby, don't you go down to New Orleans. I know I love you so. Oh, baby, don't you go. And it works. It works. It's a great, great structure. And if you can get down into your soul with that stuff and bring out some lines that really are strong, you can write blues that way, with that lots of repetition. And nobody is ever going to say to you, boy, I wish that song had some more notes in it. People just don't say that. They like little things that they can remember. I like them. Most people like stuff they can remember. They don't have to figure it out. Don't make
Hey,
me.
Dennis, I have a question for you.
What's that, Linda?
I have a question for you. Earlier, you mentioned taking an old folk song
Yeah.
and turning it into a pop song, but it made me think about public domain issues. At what point do you get embroiled in that? When does that become a concern? Is there a year, or how many years ago a song was written, or how does that work?
This has been a long established process. I mean, this is not something that's new, is taking an old
Yeah.
melody and writing new words for it. I mean, this has been going on forever. And a lot of the minstrel singers that traveled around brought the news from place to place before, any communications. This is I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of years ago. Minstrels would go from place to place and sing songs that were topical, the news of the day. And they used the same melodies over and over and over again. And they just put the new words to it. And those songs would be those ones that go on and on and on forever. So that's a long established tradition. Now, with copyright laws, you can write a song that's like another one, but you can't copy too much of it. If I find that I write a song that sounds too much like another one, and I catch myself doing it, I go, uh-oh, I better not do that. It sounds too much like that song.
Right.
Now,
Another aspect of this is one of my favorite singer-songwriters is Richard Thompson.
oh yeah,
And he draws a lot from the poets of early England, and I'm so bad with actually his origins.
sure.
The Welsh, the Celtic songs or poetry. What about things like that? I mean, he's taking inspiration from it. It's not word for word,
Right.
and it's not
Like
melody per se.
Black Lightning, right? He was writing about the motorcycle, and he writes it like
I love that song.
ballad, right? but it's this old English ballad written in a contemporary time period, right?
Yeah.
And hand me down my Vincent for to ride, and he uses some old language, for to ride, and kind of gives that old time flavor, even though
Yeah, yeah.
it's a song. So he's embracing the whole kind of idea, and that's why I was talking about getting into that emotional place, that kind of spiritual feeling where you get in there and you know what it feels like, what it's about, and you embrace that. But you can do it in a contemporary way, which is, like you say, Richard Thompson does. And he's good at that. When I started, when I retired from my day job up in New York, and we moved down here to North Carolina, I was doing a few gigs around, and I didn't really want to go play in bars, but I wanted to still do music. And my wife works she's a music therapist, and she worked at a local retirement place just for fun. Basically, she was retired too, and she said, why don't you come in and play for these people, do some of the songs they like, just come do it, it'll be fun. So I never liked doing those things. I always kind of looked down my nose at it, and I was so wrong about it. Those people are the best audiences there are. They'll sit there politely, they'll listen, they'll clap, they'll sing along. It beats any bar gig, hands down. I mean, people are so receptive, and so they love entertainment, and they love for you to sing songs they know and have a good time and have memories come back from those days. So what I'm getting to, we started playing. I said, well, why don't we do some of those old Irish songs I grew up singing all these Clancy Brothers songs. So we would do shows where we would have themes. And so around St. Patrick's Day, we do Irish songs. All these different retirement places we were playing all of a sudden. And then I said, well, why don't we go out and play in a bar and do some of these songs? That'll be fun. So we put together a little Irish trio. Me, Mark, a guy who's the bass player, and my wife, Charlene. She plays accordion. I play tin whistle, which is a little Irish instrument, It's kind of like a flutophone. And guitar and sing. And so I kind of got tired of doing the same songs over and over, and I said, well, why don't I write some songs that are like those Clancy Brothers songs? So I started writing songs that were in that style, in that feel, in that groove. And that was how I invented Trip McCool, this alter ego, and I started writing songs for him. And pretty soon I had enough of them. I put an album out, and it was really popular. And I got tons of airplay all over the world for this thing. And so I just been having such a good time writing songs for Trip McCool. I wrote another album of Trip McCool songs and put it out at the beginning of this year, and it made the top 10 in the folk charts. And it was just so much fun to do, just writing in that style, just really embracing it. And it came from loving a style and throwing myself into it and writing like those songs that I love. And when we play in a bar, people never know that I'm playing original songs. They think they're these old songs they've heard 1,000 times already, They just don't know. That's okay with me. It's really fun, though, So the new Trip McCool album, I decided to write. I always try to write an a cappella tune or two on records. And so I wrote this one called The Very First Robin of Spring. And I was really depressed about all the school shootings that had gone on. And we walked out one morning on a spring morning and had just heard about these horrible shootings down in Florida in the Stoneman Douglas School. And I was just in tears, depressed about this. And so the next morning we're walking we're going to walk the dogs out in the woods by our house, and the birds are singing away, and I'm going, God, how can the birds be so happy, you know, when there's so much misery in the world? And so I did that thing where I embraced that old style. I took that kind of Trip McCool thing, but I made it this mournful, plaintive kind of feeling, and I just started singing to myself, when the world lies hard on thy shoulder, all the birds still remember to sing. And when the world lies hard on thy shoulder, look for the robin of spring, the very first robin of spring. I think that's one of the best melodies I've written. And that song got so much airplay, and it still gets lots of airplay. And so I decided for the backup for that song, instead of just doing it totally as a cappella piece, to just put this long, low notes behind it, and Charlene plays just the bass notes, those left-hand buttons on the accordion. She just plays long, low notes, just kind of like a bagpipe drone. It goes underneath it. And my God, it gave it such an evocative feel, you know. So understanding the style, like you were saying, Linda, of an old thing and bringing it up to contemporary times, you know. I don't want to tell people that song's about, you know, me being depressed, you know, but it's a song about there's hope in the world. There's joy in the world. I put a positive spin on it because I needed that positive spin. I needed to tell myself there's still good in the world. There's still wonderful things out there. And I like songs that leave me at least with feeling that at the end of the song that this character isn't going to go, you know, look for the razor blades, you know. It's going to have some redeeming quality or some, you know, hope for a happy ending, even if it's a love story, you know, that's going bad, you know. Maybe next time around, love will be better.
On that note, we're going to wrap up because a lot of folks are they're dropping. It's past 8:30. So Thank you so much, Dennis. If everyone could turn on their screens, I'll take a quick group photo. Appreciate everybody who's here. And yeah, and smile. All right, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dennis. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and everybody who registered today, I have your email, and I will go ahead and send the document that Dennis sent out in the chat and information about the co-op. We'll also have the, and let me just say, thanks everybody. Hold on.